Welcome to CivilNet. Today we are going to be talking about lifelong learning, about establishing new national standards in Armenia. Joining me to discuss this new initiative is Jan Eidemark from Linnaeus University, and we'll talk a little bit more about your sort of role in this initiative, and Dr. Hans Lundberg, again from Linnaeus University in Sweden. I might be not pronouncing it correctly, and you're also the Vice President of the European Academy of Management, that's based in Brussels. Jan, I want to start with you. You are the project coordinator for something called Lifelong Learning in Armenia, Georgia, and Ukraine. And from what I understand of the program, you're working with universities in these countries about lifelong learning. Tell me a little bit more about the project, if you will.
Yes, it's a project that is sponsored by the European Union and a project type called Tempus, which is specific for developing educational, especially higher educational sector in, well, actually the whole of the
Post-Soviet.
Well, yeah, no, not everything around. Yeah, everything around Europe, basically. So they wanted to have good cooperations with all. It's Northern Africa, it's Southern, and Eastern, and everywhere. So this region is post-Soviet. It's Ukraine, it's Belarus, it's Azerbaijan, Moldova, all these countries. So this is a region, and it's targeting these special ideas of the EU. Lifelong learning is one of them. It could be a company cooperation, it could be wider societal businesses. So it's many topics. We have chosen to work with lifelong learning. So in essence, what's the difference between normal learning and lifelong learning? And that's maybe the obvious question, I guess. So lifelong learning is more targeted towards the needs of people and the needs of society. That all the time we are changing the needs of the working people, the employees, and to have the universities to be more responsive to those needs. That's lifelong learning, because we want to have the right courses that pushes people the next step in the learning curve. So in Europe, we talk about lifelong learning from kindergarten to basically pensioners' courses. Everything is a step towards better adaptation to needs or interests. So we have both formal and informal learning. We have learning that gives grades, learning that is, and universities can be one of these stepping stones. And the big difference for universities is they go from a very programmatic way of thinking of their academic structures. We are professors, we want to teach our subject because we are experts on it, and now the students have to come to us and listen. Lifelong learning want to reverse this situation into, now we have students with needs. How can we satisfy them? And this is actually why we have, for example, Hans here. We want more an entrepreneurial spirit in course development, because we are targeting course development processes. So instead of starting within the universities in the books or, I mean, the personal interest of professors, we want to start outside in the needs of companies, and that is completely different. So you need to have new structures in the universities and new mindsets that allows us to build these courses, to find them, and be much more agile when it comes to both the planning process and the delivery of the courses. So that's the lifelong concept that we try to come up with. And in a way, we could say in Sweden, we are very open to this. I wouldn't say we're always much better, but at least we have the openness from the government to be able to do it.
Sure.
So this is what we want to talk to and deliver these messages.
It's very interesting, certainly, because oftentimes when we think of learning, we think of it in a formal setting, within school, within a building, with a certain methodology and courses that everybody has to do. But I think as we all get older, we realize the older we get, the more we need to learn about the world. But Hans, you are going to be leading a workshop called Learning as an Entrepreneurial Process at the Russian-Armenian University here in Yerevan. And I think today you already had sort of a launch or a public discussion about it. But this isn't your first time in Armenia, and you're working with primarily university or academics or teachers and professors. What has what has the reaction been to this kind of new way of looking at learning? And in this process, the entrepreneurial sort of aspect of it as well.
Both an original idea and also strengthened during the process is that we are not trying entrepreneurship and entrepreneur learning as a bridge between A and B, and A being as a polarized. If we make it simple, traditional, as you say, formal learning, there's an authority, it's a professor, and I'm the expert, and this is the way it's done, period. and then the other side of the extreme, LLL learning, lifelong learning, which is highly informal or semi-informal, and in completely other modes than just this formal way. So when we have noticed this polarization between old school, new school, if we make it simple, it's very, very present here in Armenia. And what we are trying is entrepreneurial as a pragmatic approach, having a bit of this and a bit of that, trying to bridge this in also a kind of language and a practice that also are in tune with the trends of our times. Nowadays, entrepreneurship and innovation is on the lips of many. Everybody. So you need to use the discourses hanging in the air and make them productive for your purposes. So it is in tune with times and can have proven to be able to serve as this bridging function because of the nature of entrepreneurship. It has that kind of pragmatic within. So correctly staged, you can appeal to traditionalists. It's not easy, but you can. And you can appeal to renewals and those reformers. And you can try to start to make them at least sit in the same room and etc.
Ponder the possibility. But I'm assuming that there are case studies where countries have adopted certain different methods towards learning, approaches towards learning. In Armenia, I don't claim to be an expert on education, but I think we are mostly... There's this inertia that has carried over from the Soviet times, and our education system also is a reflection of that. So in your experience here, not only in Armenia, because you're also doing this in Georgia and another Ukraine, what has been, do you see the post-Soviet sort of mentality lingering in the educational processes there?
Yes, both in the good sense and the bad sense.
Sure, because not because it was bad necessarily. I'm just
So in the good sense, we see this basic training in engineering, in natural sciences, and if we take the IT sector, that is very important both in Armenia and Ukraine. We see how they are extremely strong, so really competitive on a global scale out of that basic training, and it derives in technological innovation. Where the bad side or the downside of it is that it's also what paradoxically is their strength is also their weakness. Because they rule out literally automatically, discursively, all other forms of innovations that are not technological.
I see.
That is not in their home speciality.
Right.
And they also equalize innovation with entrepreneurship. They don't in a way open up to see. So there you see the downside of also too much silos, too high specialization, too much rule following, and too much things are ordered, right? So the heritage is an enormous strength because the scholarly level and the training is a really high, top-notch level. But more of the mentality of that is lingering still, and it's creating problems to simply open up that.
Yeah, sometimes it's you have to change the mentality to be able to make the other kinds of fundamental change, and yet changing the mentality is probably the toughest task that you have. Tell me, which universities are you cooperating with here in Yerevan, and if you can give me some examples or some idea of what the kind of work that you've already started to do in Armenia.
Well, it's 4 universities, and it's the Agrarian University and Russian, Armenian, Slavonic, right? And we have Gava State and Vanadzor.
So 2 universities in the regions, not only centered in Yerevan, which is a really good thing. Yeah,
now that's basically, I mean, that's a criteria more or less from EU side that we should be also mix old established universities and younger, less experienced, and have this mix. We are, as we said, a structural project that we want to engage the full Armenia development, which is of course a big word. But we also have the Lifelong Learning League of Armenia. you have a special.
I didn't know we had a lead.
No, you actually have it. We don't have it in Sweden, for example. So,
okay.
And this is a cooperation between university who has gone together, like in a foundation. It's founded for a university. So, and they do some training in this area. So that was a part of the base that we built on actually to try to lift up it, and we do education with them also. Well, up to this, we have been negotiating what should we be putting into this kind of training sessions. So we have done background studies. We have done taking our best cases from, because our partners from the EU is from Denmark, the Technical University of Denmark. As we said, Linnaeus University, of course. We have also from Portugal. Very ancient university called from Coimbra University, one of the first in Europe actually. And we also have from Bulgaria, from northern Bulgaria, it's called Ruse. The city is called Ruse. So we have been traveling around these countries and giving our best examples. How do we do it in Sweden? How do we do it in Denmark? And interesting enough, it was very different for completely different systems of dealing with it. So it's been a big learning trip for all of us, and we're taking all this experience, and now we have been working with implementation. So our Armenian partners have been using this knowledge, developing their own pilot courses. So they've been converting the insights into practice, and this is a very important part of a project, because we don't believe in just, well, here is the curriculum, please do it. No, so we want to enact this knowledge and to practice it by delivering the courses. And I think by then they realize what are the strong sides, what are the bad sides of it, and can be much better at policy development, because this is the aim of the project, that they should lift up and be able to give the advice, well, lifelong learning on our university, we could do it like this and this, because we have tested it, so we have good advice for it. Then we wish that they come together, and this is a tricky part. We have some partners different here. And how could we do recommendations for the Ministry of Education?
So you are working with the Ministry of Education in these countries, so there's a cooperation, because I was reading that you're also helping to develop national standards for each of these countries for lifelong learning. Is this a practice now that is widely or generally used in European education systems?
Well, as I said, it's different. In Sweden, it's very open.
No, it's different, but I mean, is the tendency, is the trend going in that direction, do you think?
Towards lifelong learning? Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. It's a very necessary thing, because all countries, doesn't matter whether you're Armenia or Sweden, the trends are the same, definitely. Shorter lifespans of knowledge, basically. Retraining is necessary. Okay,
and how long is this program intended to last?
Oh, well, it's a 3-year program.
It's a 3-year program.
And we are a bit more than halfway. So it will end next November.
Okay, very good. Yes. Well, Hans Lundberg, thank you for coming to Yerevan to lead these workshops. And Jan Eidemark, thank you for being the coordinator for this very interesting, you know, we oftentimes don't think about it. You know, we all have complaints about the education system, regardless of which country we're living in. I think, you know, as parents, as educators, as just citizens, education is such an important component of the development of society. So lifelong learning, something that we can all learn from. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Keep following CivilNet.